disaster must come. At best, only postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.
Welcome once again to another episode of Kicks and Flicks, the podcast about martial arts, movies, and life. I am one of your hosts, Eugene, and with me as always, my podcast partners, Joe Hartley and Angel Diaz. What's up, fellas?
Hey.
What's up?
If this is your first time with us, I want you to know we are members of the Martial Arts Inner Network. On Mondays, you got Raw with Mimi Lump. Tuesdays is CTE with Chris, Los, and Travis. Wednesdays is us, Fists, Kicks, and Flicks with Gene, Joe, and Angel. And on Thursdays, you can get the Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. For more information, check us out on all of our social media platforms. Just look for the Martial Arts Inner Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Fellas, it's showtime. What's going on, guys?
What's up, Gene?
I'm chilling. How was y'all weekend?
Well, not bad. I mean, some stuff happened we don't need to talk about. And then, Halloween. It was a good time.
Okay. What about you, Bugs?
So my weekend was pretty good. Some things I can't really discuss on this podcast. And then after that, I kind of just trained on Sunday, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Did you go trick-or-treating?
Who?
You.
I didn't go trick-or-treating for candy.
Okay, all right. All right, so I went I took Champ trick-or-treating, and we were out there longer than normal this year. Yeah, go ahead, Books.
Okay. I saw the pictures. What was he? I couldn't figure it out.
He was a referee.
How could you not figure that out?
Bro, I swear to God, I'm not even trying to be funny. I thought he was a Foot Locker employee. I swear to God.
Well, it's the same uniform, It's the same uniform. What's funny about that? He wanted to be a vampire, right? And I said, okay, that's different because normally he's been, little characters like Paw Patrol, and he's been both Mario and Luigi. So
that was a good one. I saw your old Mario Luigi. I like that one.
Yeah, so he was a turtle. He was Superman. Spider-Man. He's been a lot of different things. So when he said he wanted to be a vampire, I said, okay. So he's getting older. He wants to, start getting into the tradition of being something scary or whatever. So I said, okay, cool. When me and his mom went to the store to get it, she told me that he's changed his mind and said he was going to be a vampire next year. So I said, okay. So we're walking around Spirit of Halloween, looking for a costume. And I said, you know what? We're going to pick up something that he's not going to want to be. So why don't you come back here with him and let him pick out something? And she said, okay. I said, okay, cool. I'll send you the money. Just let me know what he wants to be. So she sent me the picture a day or two later of a referee. And I was like, what? Okay, I guess. They had already got it and bought it, and he wanted to be it, and he was happy he was a referee. So I said, okay, cool.
Yo,
no
honestly,
problem.
I hope he's a vampire, because when you said him being a vampire, my mind, I don't know if you guys went here, but my mind went straight to Vampire Brooklyn and that vampire that Snoop Dogg was in that movie one time. I forgot what it was called.
So any black vampire, huh? So, Bones, you talking about Bones. And I'm thinking Blade. I'm thinking Blade. So.
We're terrible. We gotta stop, man.
That's all good. So, we went out and we walked around for a little bit. This was the longest we've been out. We was out there for about an hour and a half this time. Normally, we go out there. He's done at 45 minutes to an hour. He's ready to go. He's getting tired. This year, he filled up his bucket twice with candy, and it was pretty cool. We saw a lot of people out, but it wasn't oversaturated with people. So a lot of people. He didn't even have to go up to too many doors. There was a lot of people that just had tables out. It was kind of a nice night. So people had set up little fire tents. And they were just chilling,
That's what I had over by my parents. I always go to my parents' neighborhood because I know everyone over there.
Yeah.
No,
So it was cool.
I don't know about how it is now, trick-or-treating, because it was different when I was a kid, and I'm sure it was different when you guys were kids. Do you take your son to different neighborhoods, or you just stick to this one neighborhood? We only do these blocks, and that's it.
Well, we go to a neighborhood that's by his grandmother's house, and it's a nice neighborhood. It's called Huntington Woods. It's a nice neighborhood. So we go over there, and after walking around there for about an hour and a half, he's done. He's ready to stop. And they have family members over in that area. He has a couple of aunts and a couple of uncles that live over there. So we end up, after doing the trick-or-treating, we end up going back to their house, and they have food there. They have candy there. And he gets to switch out some of the candy because they buy a lot of candy. So he's able to switch out what he doesn't want with some of the stuff that they have. And, he was looking at the stuff. Braylon knows that he's allergic to peanuts and peanut butter, stuff like that. So he was getting upset that he kept getting so many Reese's peanut butter cups. He was a little bit upset about that. He was a little bit upset about the peanut M&Ms. He was loud about it also. He was saying it. Why did they give me this? They don't know that I can't eat this. And I was like, they don't know you, buddy. So they have no idea. So
kids are great. Kids are great.
So
we have the same setup because we go to my parents. The kids come home. They dump out all their candy, and then they give all the stuff my dad likes to my dad. They give all the stuff they don't like to me. Mm-hmm. And that's how it goes.
That's right.
Mostly Snickers and Reese's is the most my kids don't like. And I'm like, bring it.
Yeah. I got a lot of peanut butter cups at my house for some reason now. So so it was a good time, man. Good time. So let's jump into the movie. So we are talking about Blade 2. We're sticking with the Halloween tradition, I guess, dealing with vampires, and I am not leading this movie. I just saw this is the first time I actually saw the movie.
Really?
Yeah, it's the first time I saw it.
Okay.
I was just never in the Blade like that.
Yeah, that's not surprising because it was only your second time when you saw Blade 1. So that's not surprising.
Yeah. And I never saw the third one. So we'll see what's gonna happen next week. We gotta watch that shit. So Bugs, take it away, buddy.
All right. So going off of Blade 1, it started weird, man. I don't know about you guys, but
it did.
So for our listeners, Blade this time started out where he was kind of narrating maybe the first 3 to 5 minutes ish. Mm-hmm. And he's narrating, talking about who he is, what his job is. But it's weird because it kind of gave you that Marvel cinematic, when it gives you like a look back into the past, it had like that cinematic type of view to it. And Blade is discussing how he's going after Whistler. Now, Whistler, we saw in Blade 1. He shot himself. We thought he died.
And I called bullshit. when I saw this.
You did. I'll give you that. Yeah. You did.
I said the same thing. What's the point of shooting yourself?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want to spoil it, but I already knew this part. So he ends up talking about how the vampires took Whistler. We don't know what vampires. We don't know who, but it's some type of vampires in Europe. I don't know how we even got to that point. That's a plot hole in itself. But
did they say why they took him? Did they ever say why they took him?
I think so. What I got from it, Joe, tell me if you heard this part also. Just that they just wanted to turn him and just make him vampire. I don't know if it was like to mess with Blade, but that's all it was.
It was to mess with Blade, but to kind of, I think they were seeking more information about Blade. And I mean, Whistler's a badass, so he's not giving anything up.
Oh man,
they were moving him from place to place. They were torturing him. They were barely keeping him alive. And on top of that, they turned him into the one thing that he absolutely hates.
Yep.
So he's pissed. But he's not giving up anything on Blade, no matter what they do to him. He would rather die. And I mean, that's what he wanted to begin with.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So next thing we see Blade. He goes to London. And he goes to London, and he is chasing these guys down a back alleyway. You guys, it looked like a back alleyway, but it looked like it was also inside of a warehouse. It made no sense to me at that point. But he's chasing them. He ends up mostly killing everybody, leaves one survivor. Does anybody know what his name was? I did not know his name. The guy with the red fur coat. Anybody?
Nah, I don't think it's important.
No.
All right. Yeah, I mean, he definitely wasn't. So he leaves this one guy with a red fur coat alive. That guy takes Blade to the hideout where Whistler is. Mm-hmm. And from there, Blade ends up killing almost everybody inside of the warehouse, except for the guy with the fur coat. He told him, I'll worry about you later. which we'll end up seeing later on in the movie. And then he sees Whistler, and when he sees Whistler, you see Whistler's teeth. He had his teeth; they were fangs. And it looked like he was in like a hyperbolic chamber-ish type thing.
Yeah, that's what they were doing to keep him alive.
Yeah, so
like because they were torturing him, but I mean, I don't know how you torture a vampire and then keep without killing him.
Yeah,
so they were torturing him and then keeping him alive that way, I guess.
So that whole thing is weird. The beginning part of this movie, because Whistler supposedly shot himself and killed himself, and then Blade left in the first movie, right?
Yeah.
So after he left, Blade ends up killing all of those other vampires that were around in the first movie. So who knew that Whistler's body was still at the hideout, just decomposing or changing?
And that's the plot hole right in the beginning. You're like, how does this even make sense? So we see that that's what happens. So what Blade does is he opens up the hyperbolic chamber, sees Whistler just hanging there off of just, I think, pretty much like tubes that are just like, I would say giving blood. That's the only thing I can think of. Blade cuts it, and he's about to kill Whistler, and Whistler ends up recognizing him. He opens his eyes. He recognizes Blade, and Blade, you could tell that Blade, I feel like in Blade 1 and then in Blade 2, we got to see it more in Blade 2. They try to make Blade as a badass, like he doesn't have any feelings, but you get to see what his feelings are and who he has them for. And he takes Whistler and brings them back to, would you say hideout? Is that the right term?
Yeah, I guess so.
Definitely his hideout, yeah.
Okay. So brings him back to his hideout. We don't know, for some weird reason. We just see Blade driving in his Charger. I mean, I don't know where the hideout was to begin with, if it was already in Europe.
Is it the same hideout from 1, or is it a new hideout?
It didn't look like the same hideout.
I don't think it could be, because they were in another country.
But we don't even know what country they were already. We don't know what country they were in, like when Blade went back to his hideout, because it definitely wasn't.
Yeah, but here's my thing. This is why I asked that, because Whistler asked the new guy. He says, you come in here mucking up all my stuff.
He did say that. He did.
Yeah, say that. So I think it was the old hideout.
It did seem like that.
What hideout?
That must be another plot hole then.
Okay,
it did seem like that.
He goes back to the hideout. He has Whistler. Now, what we skipped a little head there. He has Whistler in the trunk, and the new guy's name is Scud. SCUD, like Scud. He ends up showing.
It's Daryl from Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I never watched Walking Dead the first time I watched these movies, and then when I come back and watch this movie a few years later, and I go, look at a young Daryl from Walking Dead. That cracked me up. I'm like, oh man, that made me laugh so hard.
So we end up seeing him. Blade takes Whistler, puts him in pretty much, I guess, like just like their captivity chamber that they have for vampires, and tells Whistler, he shoots him with, I don't know what the exact term was, but he shot him with pretty much a drug that makes him not want to be a vampire, like weans him off of like the thirst of wanting to be a vampire, kind of like a cure. And he also tells Whistler, when I open the shades in the morning, if you are not changed, you're gonna die. So he tells him to fight the vampire. I don't know how to say it. The gene in him. That's the best way I could think of it.
I think they're trying to say it's like a virus, unless you're a pureblood.
Like, you see, that's the thing. Like, it's so hard to know, like, what's the correct terminology. Anything, Gene, from those scenes that we just mentioned?
Only thing I was thinking, like, okay, so what is? I understood what Blade was doing at the beginning of the movie, as far as he was looking for Whistler, and I understood what he was doing in the first movie because he wanted to kill Frost. So now I was wondering, is Blade? His only purpose is just to travel around the world killing vampires? If so, like that's a never-ending job. You're going to do that for the rest of your life, because there are a bunch of vampires all over the place.
I think they do cover that in 3.
Okay.
I think they do at least try. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure in 3, the idea is to come up with a way to basically eradicate all vampires.
Yeah, so I guess like Blade's job, realistically, we could say, is just to make sure that no vampires. It's weird, man, because it's like Blade is on the side of the human race, but at the same point in the third one, you get to see that he doesn't really agree with the human race on some things.
Okay,
crazy, but we're jumping ahead on a whole nother topic. So next morning comes, Blade kept the gun that Whistler shot himself with in Blade 1, and he goes to kill Whistler if he has not changed. He sees Whistler is not in the same chair. He asks him how he feels, and Whistler's response was he feels like he has a hangover, to say it in a nice way. Then that's when we started talking about what Joe was saying. He comes in, he says, who is mucking up my life's work? And he ends up doing it in a smart-ass way when he talks about his car, giving it an extra couple hundred horsepowers. And he says he'll blow it before his next oil change. So next thing we see is, would you say the ninja vampires?
Yeah, that's exactly what they were.
So we're back to
they
ninjas.
wanted to try to be.
We're back to ninjas again, people. Somehow we can never escape these ninjas. So ninja vampires come into the hideout, swinging on the top rafters, kind of like how, the Flying Graysons are in Batman. So, we should do that as a martial arts movie. Back to what I was saying.
Batman.
I swear to God, it has martial. All right, wait. Off topic.
Do not go off topic. Do not go off talking because I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it.
I just thought about that. Off topic though. So they're swinging on the rafters, and next thing we know, Blade, Whistler, and Scud see that there's people intruders. When he sees that, they end up taking a flare, putting out all the cameras. Now, Whistler, I think this is kind of cool. You guys tell me what you think. This is kind of like new school versus old school. Scud is over here trying to be diplomatic in a way and is like, let's turn on the lights. Blade, you go handle him. Whistler right away went to like a M14 rifle and was just ready to go shoot up someone. Mind you, man just got turned a couple hours ago. We don't know if he's in the right frame of mind. Scud realized.
And apparently it wasn't his weapon because Scud was like, I don't know if I trust you handling that. And he hit him with it. He just hit him with it, said, get out of my face.
Scud went to go and take the rifle, and Whistler just hit him right across the face with the back handle. And I felt bad for Scud because I was like, man, you could tell he's a pacifist. Like, he don't want no problems. There's no need to do all that.
I don't really blame Whistler. I mean, the last time somebody broke into
he died.
He died. So yeah, I don't blame him.
That's a good point. He died last time this happened. So he was probably had PTSD. We don't know.
Right.
So this is the part. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Watching this movie again, I've watched this movie again like hundreds of times because I love watching it. I think it's a good movie. I used to think it was a good movie. Watching it now, like this time, I don't know what you guys did to me that makes me look at movies differently. That I did not like the CGI in these fight scenes. Just my opinion.
Well, because I think we got used to CGI looking a particular way. I mean, technology has come a long way. Like, what year did this come out? 2005 or something like that? 2002. So that's 19 years ago. So it'll be a shame if the CGI quality was just about as good as it is now. That means there's no advancement.
But I felt like I was watching a video game sometimes. Anybody else?
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. But at the time, that was the best they could do at the time. So I can't really kill it too much.
You're right.
I didn't mind the sword fighting in this scene though.
Yeah, I was about to say. So like,
sword fighting was nice. I like sword fighting.
For the viewers, what ended up happening was the ninja vampires dropped down. Blade asked for the lights to be cut on. Once the lights got cut on, he ended up Whistler shot at them with terrible shots. He just shot at the floor, it looked like, and then got his ass kicked right after that, literally. And then after that, Blade starts fighting one of the ninja vampires. It was a good fight scene. It was a good swordsman fight scene. I guess you could say kind of like a kendo scene. But again, like I said, just the CGI, you start seeing Blade doing like 3 aerials, a backflip, jumping on people. It just looked kind of iffy to me. That's just my opinion. But what do you guys think about that fight scene, though?
I actually didn't mind it. I have not mind a lot of the fight scenes that I've seen Wesley Snipes do in these movies. I really don't have any too many complaints about him.
I want to know his karate background more because he's pretty quick.
Yeah,
like he's got some pretty good and quick moves.
I just thought of another movie we got to watch that will round out his background for Wesley Snipes. Again, but it's a martial arts movie. Well, it's boxing. Regardless, we'll move on. But so the next thing
I just knew you was gonna say white men can't jump. That's what I thought you was gonna say.
No. It's not white man can't jump. It's not white man can't jump.
Okay, go ahead, boys. Keep going.
Which, by the way, they're talking about a reboot for that.
Yeah,
I don't think that you can't reboot that movie.
No, I bet they'll probably use Channing Tatum or something stupid. Whatever. But,
you got beef with him too? You got beef with him too?
I just don't like how you always try to play a black dude, man. Like, cut it out.
Dude, they're gonna listen.
You're white, man. Like, cut it out.
It's gonna be your boy, Matt Damon.
Yeah. Oh man. Yo, I can't lead a show because these guys trying to mess me up.
Go ahead, man. Keep going. You're doing fine, man. You're doing fine. Keep going.
So after the fight scene, we ended up finding out. So I know the one girl's name was Nissa. What was the other guy's name? Anybody else know?
I did know.
He looked like Omarion, but it wasn't him.
Keep going. Let me see if I can look it up and see if I can.
Whatever. So these two people, they basically tell Blade, "We need your help. We actually came here to."
I think his name was Assad.
Assad. So Assad and Nissa, they say, "We need your help. We didn't come here to fight you because we need your help with a problem." And Blade and Whistler and Scud look and go, "What's the problem?" And they just pretty much showed them there's someone that's more dangerous than you. So basically, it's kind of like Blade is like hired for contract. That's what it seemed like. And
well, they decided to put aside their differences to deal with something that was basically affecting both sides. So something worse than the vampires going after the vampires, which kind of solves Blade's problem a little bit. But then, like they pointed out, if they eradicate all the vampires, then they're going to come after who they're coming after next.
Exactly, Blade. So,
or just humans, period.
Yeah, humans.
So, for the people listening to this, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. There you go, little jewel for today. So they end up going to this. They end up going to like this mansion compound. I don't know what it was. It looked like it was on the rocks of Beverly Hills, where these vampires are. And they ended up talking with the Grand Master, head chief, whatever you want to call him. And he pretty much says that he is trying to create vampires that have the Daywalker gene and have the vampire gene both in them, which is pretty much the same plot line for every Blade movie. It seems like that's what everyone wants to do. Be Blade.
Well, they want all the vampire goodness, but then they want to get rid of all the imperfections.
Yeah.
So
they asked Blade to work with them. They show him the video of Nomak. That's the guy's name. And this dude is one bad SOB. I'm saying, like, he ends up biting you, but he doesn't even just infect you the way a normal vampire infects you. It makes you look like you are just dying and you just need the thirst. Kind of like, I don't like to use this reference, but in the movie, it gave it this effect, kind of like a drug addict or a junkie. It looked like he made like vampire drug addicts. Would you guys agree with that? He made because they needed like the thirst.
But they explained it like it was like they have a metabolism that's faster, so they need to feed every few hours, and compared to a vampire who might be able to live by feeding once a day.
That's yeah.
So basically
it's just the way they made them look. Like they made the vampires, like how you said, they had to feed more than once a day. They were like fiending for any type of blood.
Yeah. Okay, but these new vampires or whatever they were, creepy as hell.
You didn't like them?
They could have come. I hate those. I hate those Reapers. Yeah. When he had the line on his mouth, and I'm like, what? Why you got the line on his mouth?
That was.
And then when it opens up looking like the damn Predator.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Alien comes out of his mouth. I'm sorry, but you can talk about being scared of Splinter, but I'm running away from that. Predator, alien-looking mother. I'm gone. Joe, see you later. Bye-bye.
Joe, I'm telling you right now, that man was so damn fast. We ain't getting away from nobody. That
I know we're not, but I'm trying.
We're taking that.
Trying. That dude that's like sucking out your innards or something, man. Every time I see that, I'm like, when his mouth opened up like that, I'm like, what the hell? Get me out of here. Bye.
So what ends up happening is Blade sees that, and Nissa says, we have a group that's prepared to help you hunt them down. And Blade Blade don't want help. Blade is a one-man show. He does everything on his own. So he's not really cool with the whole helping thing. We get to see later on. The group is called the Blood Pack.
Now, I like that name.
You liked it? All right. So now this is what I thought was hilarious. They introduce Blade to the Blood Pack, and he goes, "Where did you guys get these? Where did you get these guys from? What are they here for?" And Nissa very just bluntly says, "Well, they were training to kill you." So now Blade's already going into a hostile situation. Now, the leader of the Blood Pack is Rhino or Reinhardt. Which one was it? Was it Rhino or Reinhardt?
Reinhardt.
Reinhardt. Okay. Now he played in Hellboy. Am I correct?
Yep. Okay. That's Ron Perlman. Yep.
Yeah. So Reinhardt comes in, and it's kind of like I think it's hilarious. It's kind of like the first day of school, and kids just want to test a teacher to see what they can get away with. He walks in and he asks Blade, "Can you blush?" Which hilarious, ha ha ha. And then Blade ends up telling him, "Well, you're doing this in front of your fans. How about I have a little game for you?" And then would you guys say it was a dart that he was spinning around his hands?
I just assume it's one of those blades that we saw him have in the first movie. That's what I thought it was.
It's like a steak, like a mini steak, we could say, not like a steak, but like, you know what I'm trying to say, yeah. So he ends up spinning around on his hands and slaps Reinhardt in the face once, spins it around on his hands, slaps him in the face twice. Everybody says to Reinhardt, "Take it," and go and stab Blade in it right in front of him. Blade ends up using a cold move on him, kind of like a form that I know, and ends up putting an explosive device to the back of his head. And that kind of set the tone.
That whole scene is one of my favorites.
Yeah, honestly, that was my favorite scene of the whole entire. That was one of my favorite scenes of the whole entire movie. And he ends up setting the tone for the rest of the group. Pretty much saying, like, if you F with Blade, it's gonna be a problem. You guys don't want that. And then from there, they go hunting for the vampires. The
Reapers.
The Reapers, right? That's what they were. So he goes. They go hunting for the Reapers. Now Blade kind of makes a comment how they disguise, as we saw in the first movie, what a vampire party looks like, where you kind of just go to like a normal type club, and they're spraying blood all over you. People are licking each other, getting hepatitis, everything under the sun, right? And then
this club really wasn't like that to me.
No, but this club was crazy, right? No, this club was crazy because you're gonna.
This reminded me of a rave. This reminded me of a rave.
Listen. When I say it, I don't know if you guys caught it, but you guys might have recognized it or might not have. Blade, the movie Blade, is pretty much takes place in like a emo EDM type setting. So this club is in like a house. It looked like it was in like a house or underneath a street. So Blade made a comment like, "You guys are getting more creative in your hideouts," and they pretty much told him like, "We have to because of you," because he's just killing everybody off. As soon as these doors open, Blade kind of makes a laugh, and everybody else kind of smiles because you see the rave music. You see people's ribs are being taken out of their chest, and like the back muscles are being taken out. I don't know what kind of mess was this. People are putting on tattoos, but not really doing a tattoo. They just want to see the blood spurt out and just for fun. It was crazy. I think someone did cocaine in a dust of blood. Did you guys see that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like crystals or something. It was
that made no sense to me. I didn't know what that was, but pretty much Blade goes in there, and while he's in there, Blade sticks out like a sore thumb. He's just got his jacket on.
I wonder why did they let him come in there with weapons?
What they probably.
I would have thought they would have known who he was.
No, but this is my thing. That woman Nissa probably ran that whole operation, so they're trying to hunt. They're trying to save the vampires. Those vampires right there. Last thing they got to worry about is Blade chopping them up into sushi. Last thing they got to worry about. They got to worry about that Reaper gonna come over there. So pretty much Blade is just in there. He's looking around, and then Reinhardt goes to test the waters again and puts his laser to shoot his gun on Blade. And then next Blade has a laser on him, ready to shoot him back. But what we end up seeing is the Reapers end up coming to that club from underneath the ground. Now, there's a big dude, don't know what his name was. He's tall as hell. He ended up wandering off in the basement or the kitchen. He finds a Reaper and ends up fighting him. We end up seeing that he ends up getting bit, and that will affect him later on. After that, another member of the Blood Pack ends up getting bit, and he doesn't really make it. His name was Priest. After that, Priest, that was his name. After that, Nissa goes walking, and Blade ends up seeing Nomak for the first time. What did you guys think about that fight scene?
I liked all of the fight scenes. I didn't really have any issues with any of the fight scenes in either one of these Blade movies.
I felt like they kind of made the Reaper a little bit too strong. Like he almost seemed like he couldn't die. I guess you had to up your game from the first
Yeah, but
movie,
I mean, they had to make it seem like a threat, to the
Yeah,
vampires. Like
right,
what else?
right.
What else would make a vampire scared? So they had to be a little bit stronger than a normal
it made
vampire.
sense. I just thought it was interesting.
So
I just didn't like how they made them look. Like, why did they have to look like monsters as opposed like the vampires don't walk around looking like monsters? Blade doesn't walk around looking like monsters. How come they just couldn't look like a human and still be still be badass?
Well, the first movie had them be humans technically.
Yeah,
like you got to change them now. But
yeah, I mean, I guess, but
so Nomak ends up fighting Blade. They have a good fight scene, man. It wasn't dominated on one side. It was kind of back and forth. Blade was going back and forth with him. Nomak gave him a good fight. Again, the CGI kind of like them throwing Blade into like a wall of like concrete. Like I would have thought he would have died, even though he's a vampire. I would have thought more damage would have happened. The Nomak ends up running away because Blade took his sword and reflected the sunlight onto his face. So we see that sunlight can kill Nomak. He's still vulnerable to sunlight. Now Blade gets back and he ends up seeing that Priest got bit, and Priest is in hell, literally in hell. He cannot breathe. He can barely. He's starting to turn into a Reaper, and I don't know. This is disgusting. That dude Reinhardt told Snowball, the man with the sword, to cut his head off, and when he cut his head off, his eyes were still blinking. That was nasty.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was nasty. I'm saying like he cut his head sideways, like the brain.
Yeah, he cut
and he was still bleeding. But one good thing is they saved one Reaper where they didn't kill, and they ended up taking him back to the hideout. Do you guys have anything to say in between there?
Yes, not. I don't. What about you, Joe?
No, I'm good. I mean,
that's
they got to examine this. They got to go examine this Reaper, and that gets a little dicey as well.
Oh man! So they go to examine his Reaper, open up his chest.
Wait, hold on. Now, did you guys think that was trying to set us up to make us believe that Whistler was not really on their side,
a vampire, or on the other side?
Yeah, because it kind of made me think that a little bit, but I was like, well, they're making this too obvious, and that made me pull back on thinking that.
So for the viewers, what ended up happening while Blade was fighting, Whistler and Scud really got the Reapers. Some Reapers attacked Scud, and they went to go and kill him.
Yeah, he was in the truck.
He was in the truck, kind of doing comms. At one point, Whistler was on his gun taking point. And then next thing you know, Whistler wasn't there. He says that he got caught up with a few Reapers himself, which, to be honest, he had proof because that was the Reaper that he kept alive.
Right.
So, I mean, he has proof, but at the same point, the way the story tells it, I wish I would have seen Whistler's fight scenes because, to be honest, with the way he got his ass beat in the first scene, the man can barely walk. I don't think he can really kick some ass. That's just my thought.
Now, did Whistler also say, go ahead, Joe.
Scud was pissed because Whistler would have been able to help him out if he would have still been at his post because he had the sniper rifle. So Scud was pissed because he almost died.
Right, he did, though. He was surrounded. Now, the Whistlers say the Reapers needed to feast. If they didn't, they start to eat themselves. Is that what I heard him say?
Yeah, because he saw that he was eating his own hand or his own blood or something.
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up doing that. That's when they take the Reaper back, that Reaper that Whistler saved, back to the hideout, which I thought was disgusting. The way they cut his damn chest off just to look inside, I was like, man, the special effects on this is amazing.
That whole thing reminds me of, I kept thinking of Independence Day.
So
like to make all that, and then the guy starts coming. I was like, this dude's gonna come back alive and start killing people?
Well, he kind of did. He kind of did. Well, his body came alive a little bit.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening, people, they open up his chest and they realize that this is what makes these vampires special than any other. His heart was encased in bone, technically meaning, like the old saying, you got to drive a stake through their heart. You couldn't drive a stake through their heart. The only open area was through an angle on the side. Now, they wanted to see how the body works. someone cut some blood, cut their finger, put some blood on his chest, and the body was still trying to feast, even though he was brain dead. So the body was still trying to feast. Once they realized that, that's when they realized they gotta step their game up, and they gotta have to go into a whole type of different scenario. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Jim.
these Reapers, they weren't affected. They're not affected by garlic.
Nope.
They're not affected by silver. So
Nope.
they were having a hard time. I mean, they were even shooting them with bullets, and they weren't dying. So they have to figure out how they can get rid of these things.
Which they figured out sunlight is really the only thing that can get them.
Yeah.
So
which allows the UV ray lights also to work.
Yep.
Yes. So what ended up happening was Scud starts spending an enormous amount of time building like a UV ray bomb, right? Would you guys agree with that?
Like a grenade.
Yeah.
Was it? It had like a bunch of grenades on it.
They did.
Well, they made a big one so they could take out the whole nest. But then they had the ones that you put the little 10-second timer, and that also would go off. So it was like a release time kind of grenade type deal.
So they end up gearing up for war, and Blade pretty much tells them, we're gonna hunt at, was it dusk? Right? And
I thought he said daylight.
Daylight, yeah. I mean, yeah, he did say daylight. I just couldn't remember what the time. It wasn't like a specific time. He just said like
because the vampires had an issue with that. They had a problem with that.
So the vampires had a problem because these vampires can, like just like any others, can still die from sunlight.
Right.
But he told him, oh well, and he was very honest with him. He said, I don't expect a lot of you guys to make it back here. After he did that, we do see Blade go up to his room, and he ends up taking his serum, which now we see the thirst is still a problem that he fights.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from there, these guys get ready. Now, I don't know about you guys, but like people, it looked like they just spray painted some football pads black and just threw it on themselves. It was the amount of leather in that scene was ridiculous. And next thing you know, they end up going into the sewer system to go fight these Reapers. Joe, you pick it up from here real quick. I just gotta put my computer on a charger.
Yeah, they're going into the sewers, and they're hoping to find the nest. And they got this nice setup of a big old bomb that they're going to set off of UV lights and everything, because that seems to be the only way to take care of them. And while we're in the sewers, alliances are being tested because right away, two of the gang, the blood, what are they called? The blood pack?
Yeah.
They take off with Whistler, and they have their own plans to go ahead and take care of Whistler.
That was Reinhardt and what was the other guy's name? Chuppa.
Yeah, so they do they take him to the side, and they're basically saying, yeah, we're going to take care of him because the one, they're pissed at Blade, and two, they got their own agenda.
Right.
The whole time, which you kind of figured anyway. And Blade was aware of that to a point. He knew what he was risking, and Whistler could take care of himself. So Reinhardt leaves him and together, and Whistler, being smart, they have like I guess they were basically saying it's the Reaper semen that they were spraying to. Yeah, Reaper semen to. I thought that they were spraying. The one guy, Reinhardt, called it nut juice. That's what it was. That's what they were using to attract them.
But didn't one of the... All right, I'm not even trying to be funny, people. Like, I know I'm always the one saying craziness. But didn't that dude Chupa then take that nut juice and put it in his mouth or something? He sprayed it in his mouth?
I don't know where he sprayed it, but they were spraying it. But Whistler had one that sprayed, and he was spraying it while he was getting his ass kicked by the other guy.
Yeah.
And then so that way, even if he was killed, that guy wasn't going to get away with it because he's now attracting the whole pack.
Yeah.
To himself to kind of save his own ass.
And they got kind of picked off easily too. Like they those vampires, they had no answer to the Reapers.
They really didn't. That's why they need a Blade.
Yeah.
But in their defense, so Chupa got his ass demolished. I'm saying like he was Thanksgiving feast for some of those Reapers. Reinhardt ended up making it out, walking away. He ended up fighting. He ended up meeting back up with Blade and fighting with Nissa. and Assad. Now, this is the issue. Remember we talked about the big tall guy in the beginning, viewers, that he got bit. He changed while he was down there. And he had a wife, and the guy Snowball was the guy who was a swordsman. He ended up killing Snowball. Now imagine a big ass 7-foot Reaper that you can't kill, that he just put on a bunch of pads to walk out with you guys, and then he changed. So he almost seems indestructible. He has a sledgehammer. He ends up going after his wife, and when he goes after his wife, she basically sacrifices herself and kills him.
He thought he was Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat.
So she ends up climbing up to the sewer and opened the sewer vent, and the sunlight hit her and killed both of them. Mm-hmm. Now all that's left is Assad, Reinhardt, Blade, and Nyssa. Now
and Scud.
Huh?
And Scud.
Oh yeah, he was.
It's very important because that's my second favorite scene in the whole movie.
and Whistler. So before we get into other guys, let's talk about Whistler. Nomak ends up seeing Whistler and tells Whistler, "You will make it out alive as long as you tell Blade the story of this ring." He gives him a ring and tells him a story. We don't really know what's going on. We just see Whistler listening. He ends up making it out. We find out later on what happened. Now, Nyssa and Assad and Blade are together. Assad ends up walking in the water and got ambushed by like 30 Reapers. Yo, how were they underwater breathing? Like they were under there for a while. That made no sense.
I don't think that it matters.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I don't think so either.
If you ain't killing them with silver and garlic, what does water matter?
That's true.
Yeah, why they need to breathe?
Assad ended up getting attacked, and now Blade, it's like out of nowhere, all the Reapers came. Reinhardt told Blade that he couldn't get the grenade bomb of UV lights open because
basically the nuke.
Yeah, the handle was stuck. Blade ends up taking all the nut juice and puts it on himself, and he ends up attracting all of the Reapers to follow him to that bomb. Nyssa is still trying to fight off whatever vampires she can while she's in this like river, lake, pool thing. Blade ends up doing something that was pretty badass. He ends up kicking over the handle for the nuke, and after that, he ended up actually destroying all of them. Once he destroys all of them, he goes back to Nyssa to go see her, and once he sees her, he's holding her in her arms. Now, this is where we get to see Blade.
She took a bit of a part of the blast.
Yeah, she took a bit of a part of the blast.
She was badly injured.
Yeah,
she didn't get far enough away.
She was bleeding, and we get to see Blade kind of has like a soft spot for Nyssa.
Why? Why?
Why not?
I mean, listen.
I stumped you, Angel, because when I saw that, I was like, why? Why is he having a soft spot for her? This makes no sense. Because as soon as this shit's over with, he's gonna try and kill her.
Well,
I didn't get that. I didn't get it.
We don't know if he was gonna kill her. We don't know.
If they beat the Reapers, like they're enemies with each other.
We don't know. We don't know.
You think they're gonna go live happily ever after?
They're gonna have
what's gonna happen.
They're gonna have little daywalker babies. You don't whatever, man. So as he's there with Nyssa, Reinhardt's father ends up coming and stabbing him with pretty much tased him. The messed up part was these were the same people that asked Blade for their help to defeat Nomak. So now they
what kills me? You know what kills me? Blade is such a badass, and he's always going through all this crap. He's always, against all odds. But then both movies, they take him out with like 4 guys with some electric sticks from Star Wars or whatever. What the hell? Why, if that's all it takes to take out Blade, why don't they all have these damn cattle prods?
That's what it looked like.
Like every time, it drives me nuts. Every time, it's like you got sword fighting, you got karate ninjas, you got Reapers, you got all these things that's supposed to take him out, and none of them take him out. And he gets through all that, and then just 4 guys, familiars with cattle prods, coming and they take him down.
Yep,
it's a bunch of bullshit.
So they end up taking Blade back. They take Blade back, and that's when Nyssa realizes that her dad is behind it because Scud ends up coming up and tells Blade, he's been working with them the whole time, and he makes that reference. I'd rather be what was it, sheep than cattle? Pretty much meaning,
yeah, like a pet.
Basically, he'd
Yeah.
rather be a pet than the cattle. But
Yeah,
wait. Before that, Blade got pissed and went to use the bomb on Reinhardt,
Yes,
and it didn't work.
Now I had a
He said
problem
it
with
was a
that.
dud.
I had a problem with that
Why?
because why wouldn't he have blown up Reinhardt? Because he hit the button and the button and the bomb did not explode.
Maybe he needed to double tap it. You don't know.
No, but Reinhardt took it off Scud. It revealed that he's actually been working for the vampires. And Reinhardt takes it off and he tosses it to Scud. And Scud is, saying what he said, like, I'd rather be a pet than cattle. And then Blade tells him, no, it's not a dud. And he presses the button and it blows up.
Blade's better than that because Blade be like, you know what? First thing, I've been on to you since day one.
Right.
He says, second thing, it's not a dud. And then Scud looking like, oh, damn it.
Like really, like if you think about the two, you think about Scud and you think about Reinhardt, who's gonna be harder to kill? Like Scud is easy to kill.
You're
I'm not wasting a bomb on Scud. He could probably punch him and kill him.
Yep.
So yeah, that was kind of weird to me. Go ahead, Bugs. Keep going.
Right after that happened, we end up seeing Whistler say, man, I kind of like them, which I thought was hilarious. And then pretty much they just keep Taser and Blade, and they take them to pretty much where they're gonna, like, kind of like how in Blade 1, chamber where they're gonna pretty much just take away his blood. And they kind of emphasize that they want to take away his blood, his bone marrow, everything in him to see what makes him a daywalker, so that way they can create their own species of daywalkers. And then after that, as they're there, he tells Blade, ends up in his faint words because he's dying, says that Nomak knows where they are and that, Nomak is coming. And we skip one part. When Whistler was talking, when Blade was getting tasered, he told everybody that Nomak was the son of the Grand Chief and was the brother of Nissa, and that he's actually just getting revenge for the father creating Nomak, creating him to be this Reaper vampire. And that's when Blade tells him that he's actually coming. So this next part we're gonna kind of move through kind of quick because not much happens too much in this part until until like this one fight scene, until two fight scenes. But pretty much what happens is Nomak ends up coming into the compound. I still don't know how he got that far. Like they didn't close the doors or nothing, but he ends up killing almost everybody. Goes to attack the father and Nissa, and they end up getting in the elevator and leaving. When that happens, Whistler ends up killing Reinhardt. He broke out of the cuffs because he had a spare key and God knows where, and ended up breaking out of it and knocked Reinhardt out for a short moment in time. Whistler then goes to where Blade is, shoots the father or shoots that guy, whatever his glasses are, kills him. Yeah, kills him, ends up taking Blade.
He's like a scientist that's helping him with the blood.
Yeah, he ends up killing that guy and ends up taking Blade to this big pool of blood. Why did they have the pool of blood? Was that because the chief would take a bath in it or something?
I guess.
Yeah, I guess, man. Yeah, they didn't explain that at all.
It made no sense. So pretty much they pretty much take Whistler's trying to get Blade there. When he's trying to do that, Reinhardt ends up somehow waking up, knew where they were, and starts shooting at them. Ends up getting Whistler down, and Blade crawls to get to the pool of blood and ends up falling in it. Now, as we saw in Blade 1, Blade needs, because he doesn't have a serum and he's weak, he needs the thirst. He needs to feed. He needs blood to get stronger, to kind of like get his superpowers back, I guess we could say. And ends up getting up out of the pool of blood. And then I thought this fight scenes were pretty cool, that Reinhardt pretty much just sent like 30 guys after Blade, like familiars with the cattle prongs, which now they couldn't do nothing to him. There was one part, I don't know about you guys, Blade took the prong and like threw it in the guy's like face, like hit him like right in his eyes. I was like, Jesus, that was just kind of hard.
I don't know why. Like he fought these other vampire guys, but I don't know why they didn't have a fight scene between Reinhardt and Blade. I mean, they were kind of teasing it for the whole movie. And then we get to this part where you
He
think
did.
that they would have a conflict with each other. They didn't really have a fight scene.
Not really.
He kills them quickly. He just slices them in half.
I like it. Actually, I thought it was pretty fitting to me. This is why I say this. This is why I say this.
Mhm.
We got to see that blood pack throughout the whole movie. Even though they're getting trained for Blade, they got no skills whatsoever. At all. They had no skills. Like, for real. They were getting their ass destroyed. So, Blade was definitely going to smack that ass with baby oil. Like, without a doubt. So, what ended up
Hellboy is DC, right? Is Hellboy DC or Marvel?
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was independent. I don't know.
No,
I'll let you know.
no.
I think it's DC.
It is. Is it? Okay.
No, it's not. It's Marvel.
Is it?
It's Marvel.
Oh, that would have been kind of funny if they would have given us like some kind of Hellboy Easter egg or something.
Yo, that would have been dope. So what? Actually, he would have known that he was on Hellboy at that time too, because Hellboy came out in 2004.
No, it's independent. It's independent. It's with Dark Horse.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was with Marvel.
It still would have been funny.
We're way off.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So, what ended up happening? The fight scene that we're talking about, Blade pretty much just goes up to Reinhardt, and Reinhardt says, you know, like my daddy told me before he killed my mom, if you want anything right, you got to do it yourself. And then he went back to the term. He also said, and as he went to go slice Blade up, Blade caught his sword, caught the blade, and said, "Can you blush?" Hit the sword up in the air and then sliced Reinhardt up, and then that was it. Whistler throws Blade his glasses perfectly. He catches him, and then Whistler shoots. Yeah, I know. I knew. That's why I said that. That's why I said he threw his glasses perfectly. And actually, if you watch that scene, you see like the scene where Whistler threw it. But if you look at from Blade's point of view, you see Whistler do this 3 times to kind of like get it right. It was weird. It actually was kind of weird. And then Whistler ends up shooting up the whole entire vampire eggs. Pretty much just committed like quadruple homicide, serial killer, killed all the babies in there. And then after that, Nomak ends up seeing his father. He ends up biting his father because he's upset at him. He ends up biting Nyssa because he's upset at his sister because she was the favorite. And then Blade and Nomak end up having their fight scene. What did you guys think about this fight scene? Because I have my own thoughts on it.
It wasn't bad. I just didn't understand what was Nomak's problem and what was it that he told Whistler.
He didn't like the fact that one, the father turned him into a Reaper, and then left him to die, like kind of because he wasn't because he was a mistake.
Okay.
He told
her that the dad was the one who started all this, not like it wasn't. They didn't just pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like his dad created them, and then at the end when Nomak.
And what was up with that ring? What was up with that ring?
It was the family. The family crest.
Yeah, they're the family crest.
Okay.
They're like royals.
Yeah.
The vampires.
He was the prince. Nomak was a prince, and his whole the father said you could sit at my right hand side as the prince as you should, and he said to Nomak, "We can fix you," because it was a mistake, and that's where Nomak got upset, and he said, "You know, your voice trembles," and then bit him, and then bit his sister because he felt like she was a favorite. Then Nomak and Blade start fighting, and for the viewers, I mean, it all depends. Again, I didn't like how it kind of looked like a video game at some points. Blade was getting his ass beat. He was getting thrown like through concrete bricks, getting swung around, getting like it almost kind of looked like a fake WWE match. And then Nomak ends up breaking off Blade's sword, broke the blade on his sword. So now that left Blade to have to kind of figure out what he's going to do, which you guys explain this to me. Did he put the blade in his arm and then it came out? Or like, how did he have it?
I just assumed it was in his jacket. He had a you're right.
He had a bulletproof vest on.
Yeah, you're right. He didn't have his coat on.
So for the viewers, Blade kind of puts his hand out and like it looked like the sword came out from his skin. How he did this. It was weird. Because it had blood on it.
Thought he was Wolverine or something.
Yeah, for real. So pretty much what happens is Blade goes back to what happened earlier in the movie when they saw the Reaper's heart and how you have to enter it from the side. Blade stuck the sword, pretty much just a blade, through Nomak's heart on the angle, and it was killing him. Nomak already wanted to die. He didn't want to be a Reaper anymore. Actually, we got to see that in his last words, and stuck the blade deeper into his heart, and he killed himself, essentially. Now, only thing that's left is Nissa, and she was still dying, and she said she could feel herself changing into a Reaper, and she asked to see the sunset, knowing that it was going to kill her, but she at least wanted to see it once. Blade takes her out there, and you can see Blade is in his feelings. You know, you can tell he wanted her, and she ends up, fading away. You guys got anything to say?
Yeah, a couple things. I'm looking at the scene now, and I'm assuming that Blade had put that sword blade somewhere in his arm, because when it comes out, it's covered in blood.
Yeah,
it's covered in blood. So he must have put it in his arm, because we see him look at it, and then next thing you know, the next time we see it, it's coming out of his arm when he sticks him. Now, when Nissa dies, what did that remind you of? Because it reminded me of something. It reminded me of the Thanos snap, because she is dusting away to nothingness. That was what I thought of when I saw that.
So you're telling me when they made Endgame, they looked back at Blade and said, "We want that scene."
It's a possibility. I don't know.
So he snapped away all the vampires?
I'm just saying, everybody, at least half of them. At least half of them.
About it. They're trying to incorporate Blade back into the multiverse. Imagine they show when Thanos snapped his fingers, all the vampires went away. Holy shit.
Well, half of them. Remember, half of them. Half of them going to go.
Okay, half. No, but I would lose it. Oh, my God. That would be crazy. Anyways.
So she's gone. She dies.
Yep.
And that's pretty much the end of the movie. But Blade has one more person left to kill.
Yep. And Blade goes back to the person that he saw in London that he left alive. And he said, "I'll worry about you later." And at the end of the movie, he said, "You don't think I forgot about you?" And pretty much just stuck the sword right in his forehead.
Yeah, and that's it.
And that was it. That was the end of the movie. Yeah. So that was Blade. I'm going to ask these guys, what's the grade you would give?
I would give it a C-.
I'll give it a B.
A B.
I didn't mind it. I like this movie.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So for all the viewers, before I saw this movie this weekend, I would have gave the movie, in my mind, I was already predetermined of giving it a B+. After watching it this time, it's a C- at best. Like, I did not like the movie at all. I don't know why I don't like it anymore. I just do not like this movie anymore. Not at all.
Well, I mean, I didn't hate it, but I just was like, I don't know. It was just all right. I didn't kill it. Like, it wasn't like I didn't really have a lot to complain about the movie. So and I definitely didn't, like chop it up. But I don't know. Like I don't know, man. Like, it seems like these vampires came to get Blade for help, but when really it was just a setup to get him, so they can try and get his blood. It seemed like they could have just cut out all that shit and just, because it was just Blade.
They were trying to knock out two birds with one stone. Help us with these crazy things coming after us. Oh, and by the way, we're going to take you and make ourselves better.
So when they set off that bomb, that killed off all of the Reapers except for Nomad. All of the other ones were gone. That's what happened? There were no others anywhere else. Okay. I guess so.
I'm trying to think into 3, and I don't think they show up in 3. So,
okay. No Reapers show up in 3. For all the people, all our viewers, for the third movie, I'm just gonna put this I don't know how to say it, like not even spoiler alert, just like a predetermined thing. It's not as good in terms of maybe like storyline and plot. It has more comedy to it because the guy who plays Deadpool, who's in it?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. So, I think any movie with Ryan Reynolds, he's always going to have his little smart ass answers. And, there's going to be comedy in that.
Joe, I got a feeling Angel doesn't like Ryan Reynolds.
No, to be honest with you, I like Ryan Reynolds, but right now I keep getting pissed off because on my effing Netflix, they keep suggesting Green Lantern, and that shit sucked. Like, I don't know why they keep suggesting it to me. I hate it.
It's a great movie.
What?
I didn't hate it.
What?
I didn't
hate it either.
I didn't hate it. I went to the theater and saw it, and I didn't hate it.
So did I.
You went to,
and I saw Daredevil, and I didn't hate Daredevil either.
Now that I hate. I hate Daredevil.
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
I would much rather watch Pokemon. with Ryan Reynolds.
Well, Pokemon. What's wrong with Pokemon? Gotta catch them all, bro.
All right, so then we're gonna wrap it up with Blade. You guys got any closing remarks?
No, not really.
All right. So make sure you guys check out Inside Scoop tomorrow. Check them out. I don't know if they have a guest on or not. Make sure you guys go back and listen to Raw and also CTE. You guys stay safe, stay strong. Make sure you go to my comic, jumpkickcomic.com, and also Jump Kick Athletics. Stay safe, stay strong. We'll holler at you guys next week. Director, play my music.
Disaster must come. At best, only postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.